Well, folks, we're visiting today with Tony Martirano. He's with Tony M Music. He's out of Martinsburg, West Virginia. Tony, thanks for being on the program.
Hey, Jim, thank you very much. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, that's great to see you, have you in the studio, and I look forward to learning more about your story.
Positively West Virginia is powered by Breezeline high-speed fiber internet and sponsored by Highmark West Virginia, Freedom Key of Morgantown, and Storymaker. With the help of these sponsors, we are able to share the positive business stories of West Virginians, including the one featured in today's episode.
All right, Tony, tell us a little bit about Tony M Music. What is it that you do?
Tony M Music, that is my stage name. Martirano is my real name, but
Yeah.
as you early on discovered, people have trouble saying that name. So I was like, I need a generic name. And so I came up with Tony M Music.
I love it.
So what I do, as a former educator teaching in elementary schools, I incorporated music a lot. So I had, after playing enough in my classroom, I thought, you know what, these songs could be good to share with other kids and educators.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of where the idea arose to become a full-time musician, to write programs that I could perform in schools.
I love it.
And in libraries. So that's what I do. So that's what Tony M Music does.
That's amazing. Now, you mentioned, you were a former school teacher. First of all, tell us a little bit about your background. Where were you born?
So Martinsburg, West Virginia,
Yeah.
1978.
Born and raised.
Yes. And
you're still
I moved
there.
out of the
I love
state
it.
for 1 year.
Okay.
And then
You got
I came
back
right
as quick as you
I
could.
did. Yes.
All right.
It wasn't even a year I didn't make it out
So
of the state.
what grade levels did you teach?
I started in I started in the school that I went to kindergarten in, which was St. Joe's in downtown Martinsburg. And
cool.
then after that first year, I taught fourth grade that year. And then from there, I went to Opequon Elementary, which was the second school I attended in Berkeley County. So,
that's awesome.
yeah, it was just kind of cool how it worked out. And I taught first grade there for 3 years.
Yeah.
I taught at Maryland for a few years, and then back in West Virginia for the last 5 years before I became a full-time musician.
Yeah, you're a full-time musician. You hear a lot about like starving artists, right? People that are sculptors or painters or musicians, and that couldn't be further from the truth. There's so many opportunities for musicians to start a business.
Yes,
and I love that you're doing that. Tell us a little bit about like specifically. How you got into it. Like, did you grow up playing music? Talk a little bit about that.
So music, I attribute this to the first live music I heard was my mom singing.
Yeah.
And she had this bedtime song that she sang that I still remember today, which is, it's amazing how music and the mind work.
Absolutely.
And my father was I think it was the first time I saw him play a piano. I can't remember how old I was, but I didn't know he could play the piano. Like, it was not, we didn't have a piano in our house.
Yeah.
Like some people will say, oh, we had a piano always in our house.
Yeah.
We did not. So we were at Kmart of all places, and he played this tune on the little, like a Casio keyboard. It was like discovering my dad was a superhero. I was like, you play the piano?
Amazing.
I remember it was like it sparked something in me, and I wanted to. After learning that, I wanted to be a musician,
and here you are.
A
musician.
So I picked up the
great.
trumpet though first. That was my first instrument.
And now you've brought some instruments here with you today. You've got an acoustic guitar and a homemade ukulele, handmade.
Yes.
Ukulele. So
beautiful ukulele.
We're hoping to hear maybe a song or two during this interview, I would love to do that. Tell us specifically, Tony, like, what are you known for? Like, with Tony M Music, you mentioned you've got these educational programs. Talk a little bit about like the specifics of that. What does that look like?
So I think the most popular program that I present to libraries and preschools, it's called Rock and Read. And I incorporate music, literature, storytelling, and movement, and a lot of instruments. I have a variety of instruments. It's hard to believe I can do all this in 45 minutes, but I do. Yeah. 45 minutes, we do a lot. Preschools mainly hire me for this particular program. It's more like an music educational piece.
Yeah.
And I think and then I also do performances at libraries.
Okay.
And usually they'll choose, for summer reading programs, they'll choose programs that I've written that align with what they're doing for the summer reading.
I'm envisioning these preschool kids gathering around you with your instruments, and you're singing and playing, and they're dancing and moving their bodies, and they're learning about a story, and they're learning, how to read maybe some lyrics or something. Is that kind of the picture that you're?
It's 45 minutes is just, I hope by the end they're ready for a nap. That's my goal for these parents and teachers. So
that's great.
If I'm doing my job, they're tired. And me too, I'm tired. Yeah. But it is, man, I think when I walked in here today, I was telling Nick, it's like, it's hard for me to believe I do this for a living because it's so much fun.
You get to do it.
I get to do this for a living. Yeah. It's so great.
That's amazing.
But yeah, and a lot of my skills as a teacher, it has translated so well to this. And I think that's really what benefits me.
Yeah. You got a great foundation for it.
Yeah, I did. And I was a shoe salesman for 7 years, which that doesn't seem like it would aid in this, but it has. That has given me my what do you call those skills when you're as a business working with my why can't I think of that? Customer service skills.
Yeah.
So there, I just
dealing with customers as they walk in. Truth be told, most people don't know this. One of my first jobs was a shoe salesperson.
Yeah, where'd you work?
Yeah, in Morgantown. I worked first at Petrie's on High Street. They were like
really?
It was a West Virginia chain. They had, and then also fashionable shoes. Lawrence Delenn, who was a big mover and shaker back in the day. I worked for his.
That
shoe
sounds
store.
like a high-end sneaker or shoe.
Yeah, it was.
Fashion shoe.
Yeah. It was a they sold all the top brands and everything. But awesome, Al Bundy, you remember Al Bundy? He gave shoe sales people a bad rap. That's not what it was like. But
I actually cared about my customers that came in.
That's right. So
we sold shoes together.
Yeah,
I got to ask you, did you have a big shoe collection?
I do still.
Do you?
I do.
Now, are you like sneakerhead, or do you do more
a combination
of
both? Yeah, exactly. A lot of work shoes. So,
do you have a prize shoe? Do you have a shoe that you're like, that's one I'll wear? I'll bring out on a special occasion.
No, not so much that, but I have several brands that I just really like. So
that's so cool.
I have a special place in my heart for Cole Haan shoes. So.
Oh, really? I gotta look that up. I don't know that one. Right.
So good. So, all right. So this is good. This is fun. We got a connection. We got some similarities. I'm also a musician, a drummer. So I have a passion for what you're doing. What would you say, if you could, Tony, give a 30-second pitch to what Tony M Music's about in 30 seconds? When somebody says, Tony, what do you do? What do you say to them?
It's like I should have been prepared for this.
That's okay. I'm putting you on the spot.
I know. I just talking about myself is always tricky. So Tony M Music is former teacher turned musician. I always try to incorporate literature, instruments, and movement and mindfulness into each program that I do. And I don't want just to come into a space, perform, and then leave. I always try to build connections and relationships with the schools or the libraries that I visited. So so that's something I can return to over the years or month after month. So it's a relationship for Tony M Music, for my business, my brand is most important to me.
I love that. And, I have a favorite saying. It says, most people communicate, but very few connect. And when you talk about connections, I relate to that. Yeah. Because that's the essence of a good relationship, is that connection. Yeah. Not just coming in, doing your thing, and leaving. But so thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
Thanks for asking about that. Yeah, that's selling shoes. That's where I learned that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Making connections.
Making connections in the shoe store. This is Positively West Virginia. We'll be right back.
Your prescriptions are designed to keep you healthy, active, full of life. At Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, we're making vital medicine more affordable. Because when your prescriptions don't cost an arm and a leg, you can use those limbs for something more meaningful. Because life. Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, West Virginia.
Folks, we're we're visiting with Tony Martirano. He's with Tony M Music, a company he started as a former school teacher, now bringing music to the classroom and also to libraries and other things. But Tony is from Martinsburg. Tony, I love your story so far. This is amazing. What would you say is the thing you're most excited about for your company right now?
Summertime's coming up, and then that means I get to travel around West Virginia again.
Yeah.
So I'm so grateful for our library systems in the state, which they're heart. I will say this constantly, and I don't care if I sound redundant every time I do it over and over again. They are the heart of the community, and libraries. It's just another relationship that I've formed over the years that I'm just grateful for. So I will get to tour around the state, visiting libraries for their summer reading programs.
Amazing.
And
it sounds like fun.
Oh, it's so much fun. And I've seen, so one example, Philippi, West Virginia, I'll visit there.
Barber County,
visiting them since 2018. So a lot of the kids that come out, they're growing up, they're getting older, and some of them age out. And if I see them like during the day I visit, sometimes they're going in to check out a book, and maybe they'll sneak out to check out the program I'm doing. But that's I love that. Like I've come back into the community year after year, and I get to see the families that I've met year after year too. So.
Yeah. In your travels, doing this for multiple years now, what is the most interesting thing you've seen?
Man, the most interesting thing, like in any little town, it's got to be the Mothman Museum.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to that?
No, but did you get to play there or what?
No, I played in Point Pleasant. At the library.
Yeah.
So I stayed at the Low Hotel. Which, are you familiar with that?
Yeah, of course.
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful old hotel, and they give you the little skeleton key to get in the door. Yeah. You can't lose it because it'll cost you like $200 to replace. But it's and the owners, they're fantastic. So across the street is the one and only Mothman Museum in the world. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah, I took my daughter to that. So I'm trying to, just push on this love of West Virginia to my daughters too, and I have one daughter that really, really loves coming around the state with me.
That's very cool. Yeah, that's something you can experience together.
Yeah,
it's educational all the way around. So, about the music, like when you're playing at these library. The public libraries in these communities across West Virginia or in a school, what kind of music are you playing? I got to ask.
I write music. So if I'm performing a program, I center those around the songs that I write.
Yeah.
But then I love sharing like good music with kids. So I do a lot of like 60s, like Motown. One of my favorite songs to cover to get families up and dancing is "Love," Nat King Cole.
Oh yeah,
like that's a great jumpy song, and it's just a good-hearted song.
I love it. Yeah.
So I'll share songs that I grew up with and I love, but then I also share songs that I write.
Yeah, who are some of your other musical influences?
My influences, first would be, I guess, Dave Matthews Band.
Yeah,
that was the first band I saw. The first big band I saw live.
Oh, such a talent.
God, it blew my head. It blew my mind. I was like, what is this? Yeah. Like people are screaming. Like I've never been to a concert like that before. Like I can still hear it now.
Love Dave Matthews.
Oh my gosh, they were great. And that was what I wanted to do. I'm like, that's what I want to do. I want to be on a big stage with screaming fans. And then 15 years later, it was libraries with screaming little kids. I was like,
it's kind of the same thing.
It is.
You got fans
people,
out there.
Kids, they're the same thing.
That's right. Well, music is such a powerful influence. It's such a powerful art form. It like you said, use the word connects. It connects people. You hear a song and it takes you back in time to that moment you first heard that song or first saw that band on stage. So I think that's super cool. Well, Tony, I got to ask you, you brought along some instruments. Why don't you give us a little sample of what you like to do?
I would love to.
Yeah, that sounds great.
This is my guitar with googly eyes.
Love it. That's great.
That was a preschool teacher, my daughter's preschool teacher.
That's cool.
She gave me that idea.
Yeah.
One of my daughter's friends in that school, she named my guitar Jolene.
Oh.
So that's when her teacher was like, "Oh, you should put googly eyes on it now."
Jolene.
And I was like, "Yeah, it's a great idea." So,
that's great.
So
that's one of my favorite songs by Dolly Parton.
Oh yeah,
Jolene.
that was this little girl's favorite song. I was like, "That's good parenting."
That's good. Yeah.
They know Dolly Parton. That's good parenting.
All right.
Yeah, so this is West Virginia, my home, and I know everybody has everybody that's written a West Virginia song. They have a good story about it. So this was I traveled the state for the first time in 2018. Like I know, like when I say that, I'm like, man, that's kind of like sad. I didn't get around the state until I was 40, but that part of my life it changed the trajectory of my career and just changed my life, like seeing our state and how beautiful it was.
So you'll play us a little sample.
So this is, just a little sample. West Virginia, my home. North to south, east and west, and every little town in between. Shape of your hand with your thumb sticking out and your finger pointed to the sky. West Virginia, wild and wonderful. My heart belongs in your hills. No matter how far I roam, the places that I can go. West Virginia, my home. West Virginia, my home. Whew. There's just a little taste.
That's
right
awesome, man. Now that's available on your website too. We'll have links to that. Folks can download that. That's an amazing song. I love it. And man, you're very talented. Man. You got a great voice too. This is Positively West Virginia. We'll be right back. Stay connected with an unbeatable deal from Breezeline. Voted best in Mountaineer Country for their reliable, high-speed fiber internet for a low cost, Breezeline is the best gig in town. You know, here at InnerAction Media, we rely on high-speed internet every single day to ensure we can deliver the best content possible for our clients and when we publish Positively West Virginia each week. That's why we use Breezeline. It's affordable, fast, and they're great people as well. Learn more about Breezeline's internet, TV, and mobile options at breezeline.com. Folks, we're back. We're visiting with Tony Martirano. He is with Tony M Music. He's out of Martinsburg, West Virginia. Tony, I see you brought another instrument. Yeah, tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here.
That is a license plate ukulele. That's handmade by Jim Morris out of Romney, West Virginia. He specializes in making, he calls it a junkyard instrument. I can't remember the exact name.
Yeah, that's okay.
But he takes just repurposed or old wood or maybe even instruments and repurposes them.
Yeah.
This he made from. I asked him if he would make me one of these because I love the instruments he made.
And that's your actual license
This is my actual license plate for my old car. My old what was it? I had a Jeep Cherokee. It was terrible. Right. It was a terrible vehicle. It was a lemon when I bought it. No. But I got a cool license plate out of it.
That's amazing. And a cool instrument now. Yeah.
So and it's solid. I love it. So
and it's a ukulele.
Really craftsman. Yeah.
Yeah. So could you play us a little tune on this?
Yeah. So this is a little tune. So actually I wrote this driving to Wheeling to do a school show. And I was talking to myself in my car because I was driving by myself and I'm thinking, do people talk to themselves all the time? I'm like, that's kind of weird. And then out of that, I started writing this song called "We're All a Little Bit Weird," and I stopped at Cooper's Rock because I had the chorus. So I got to stop.
Passing back through.
Yeah. So no, this was heading up.
Oh, heading. Oh, heading.
So on my way there,
okay.
I stopped. It was sunset. I stopped at Wheeling or Cooper's Rock. And I brought my camera out and set it up on Cooper's Rock. I disturbed everybody's peaceful evening, sunset. I completely come in, and it's even on my Instagram. It's the very first time I ever sang this song. Right after I wrote it. So this was my weird song. So anyway, that was thank you for listening to my story about this.
It's great.
Well, you do you and I'll do me, and things will be hunky-dory. As long as we ain't hurting anybody. We all got so many things in common, but we all got our little quirks about us. And quirks are cool, 'cause that's what makes you you. Yeah, those quirks are neat, 'cause that's what makes me me. We're all a little bit weird, we're all a little bit strange. No two of us are exactly the same. We're all unique in our own little ways. We're all a little bit weird, we're all a little bit strange. We're all a little bit weird, we're all a little bit strange.
Yes, that is awesome. Well, I got to tell you, one of my favorite artists is Jack Johnson, and that has a Jack Johnson vibe through and through. And I love the song and I love the message.
Jack Johnson's my other influence right there. Oh,
yeah.
Man. When I heard him first, like the way he hits the guitar, I was like, man, I love that. That was the sound. It was the sound I was was. So that was, a lot of my cool. Style is.
I love it.
I
mean, he's one of my favorites too. I've seen him live, and that was a great song. So thank you, and thank you for writing music like that. That's incredible.
It's fun.
You get to share that with kids.
See what happens when you're driving your car by yourself.
It's very productive, and I appreciate that.
Jack Johnson, he's actually one. So that album that came out, the Curious George album.
Yeah.
It was it was for the soundtrack for the album or for the movie, and it was geared towards kids. But as I'm listening to, I'm like, this is like, I didn't have kids yet, so we were listening to, because I love Jack Johnson. I was like, this is I love music like that. So
it's
when
universal,
I started writing,
really.
that was so the songs I started writing were geared towards kids, but I'm like, I want adults to be able to listen to them. So that was my big influence. Change when I changed my writing style. Was that album, I think, was. I could probably like pinpoint that time where I'm like, this is what I like. This is where
I think it's amazing. I think it's super cool. What's the vision you have long term for your music company? You're a musician, man. You got so much stuff going on.
I know.
So much to be excited about.
I don't know. I keep thinking like how long can I jump around with kids? Like, how long can I have that energy? I'm 46, I think now, and I still have a lot of energy. So I'm like, if I'm like, 70 years old, am I gonna be able to jump around like that? So right now, I love doing what I'm doing. I love traveling around the state. I do want to get into more. I haven't visited all 55 counties yet, so that's my goal, to visit more schools in the counties. I visited Kanawha County for the first time in one of the school systems. Like I go down to Charleston a lot to do festivals, but I got to finally visit a school thanks to West Virginia Public Broadcasting. They sponsored this, and I was like, man, like that's what I really want to get into, more counties and the schools and the school systems throughout the state.
And we need that, honestly.
The arts.
It's therapeutic. It's educational. It gets, just like you said, the first time you heard your dad play the piano in Kmart. It sparked something in you, right? And I think that's important here in West Virginia, because too often we hear the gloom and doom. There's no opportunity. There's no future. There's no jobs. That's one of the reasons we started this podcast, is to encourage people that, hey, if you have an interest in music, you could be like Tony M. And you could be out there doing music full time. That's amazing. So to be able to cast a vision like that for these young people, these young skulls full of mush, and you can make an impression on them. I think that's incredible, man. And I love it. I think it's super cool.
You said something I love what you just said, the stories we tell ourselves, and we people tell us a lot about us as West Virginians, like our state, and I absolutely hate it. I don't even need to say them, because you hear them so many times, like the discouraging things about our state. I'm like, well, but and then you tell that enough, and then people start believing that. It's like, no, this is not how this state is. It's not how we are. You're absolutely right. Like Positively West Virginia, you told me how this was created out of necessity. You wanted to shine light on the positive stuff in this state, and there's so much of it. Like you'll have a podcast for the next 50 to 100 years. You're not going to run out of the positive things.
I think so too, especially with business and entrepreneurship, and that's really what we celebrate. If you can sum it up in one word, it's opportunity. Yeah, and there is opportunity in West Virginia. Yeah, and we need to get out of that negative self-talk, the self-doubt and things of that nature, and especially with our young people. So you going into these classrooms, going into a public library and spreading positivity is awesome. And I think it's amazing.
Thanks. It's fun. Hey, and you said you're a drummer, so I'm always looking for a percussionist.
Well, I used to be pretty decent, but I've lost my chops for sure. Because I still.
Man, I'm not that good of a guitar player.
I think you're excellent. You're excellent. So Tony, you taught in the public school system, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, you're in, these libraries and schools all the time. You're a leader, okay? And you're a musician. You're also a leader. You're leading your family, your community. What would you say is the most important attribute of a leader today, especially as it pertains to business?
I think for me, I can speak for me. What I think is very important is being genuine and sincere, and that's something I've learned from family growing up and friends that I've gravitated towards. That I knew they were that's who they were. What you saw was that was that person. That's what you got, and I love that genuineness about people, and I love to try to be as genuine and as myself as I can be. Whenever, always, not whenever possible, but always. So
I think that's amazing. And it's cool that you say that, because, our show's about West Virginia, but I say it all the time, is I think, we have a beautiful state, we have challenges and everything, but the people of our state, even people that weren't necessarily born here, the people, there's a culture of, authenticity and being genuine, I think.
Yeah.
I see it a lot.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I was thinking about this the other day. Like I was born and raised in West Virginia, but I don't feel like I was truly a West Virginian until I traveled around the state and I got to meet other people in the community. And that's when I actually really felt what I've always heard, like state pride of West Virginia, but I never felt it until I got to visit all these communities and meet so many different people. I'm like, oh man, now I get it. It's real.
And the truth is, West Virginia, we have interesting topography. We have an interesting shape of our state. You got the Eastern Panhandle, the Northern Panhandle.
I always have to do this in schools.
Yeah, that's right. And you're in Jefferson County.
Yeah.
Right?
Berkeley County.
You're in Berkeley County. Berkeley County.
I don't know where I live.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's Berkeley County.
You're just agreeing with me. That's fine. You're in Berkeley, and sometimes there's a lot of people from Charleston that have never been to Martinsburg. Right?
Yeah, that's it.
And so it makes it a little bit challenging, but getting out and seeing what West Virginia has to offer is amazing. Like staycations. You hear that a lot.
You had somebody on the Curate at Wonder.
I
remember she was talking about traveling, doing little mini vacations for a family.
Yeah,
like that's something our family we've tried to do.
Yeah, I think it's
we get in a habit like once a year.
Explore
or find one place we haven't been to.
Yeah,
like last year we went to the insane asylum.
Oh yeah, in Weston.
Weston, and that was great. Like we went actually
Lewis County.
Yeah, my daughter went. My daughter and her boyfriend went, and she was like, "It was awesome. You got to go." So then we took her. My other daughter, who loves West Virginia, who really loves traveling around with me, and my mother-in-law. We went. It was So it's one of those things. We try to find a different place we've never been to.
I love it, Tony. As you're thinking about the next generation and these kids that are maybe in high school, maybe you've played music for them and they're getting ready to graduate and thinking about their career path, and maybe they hear this and they say, man, I've always wanted to be a musician. I should go for it. What kind of information, advice would you give them?
Terrible advice.
That's
Just
okay.
do it. No, that's a terrible tagline. I think somebody took that one. Guys, I think the way I've built my career is I found a passion for music, and I was teaching and incorporating that into my teaching. But the more I got into playing and writing, I thought, this could be a career. And how do I make it a career? So I did speak to other musicians that were already doing this. Yes. Several. Mick Suter was one from West Virginia. Yeah. He was the first guy I saw from West Virginia touring in the elementary schools. Yeah. So I got, used him as a mentor, got to talk to him, and just kind of pick his brain a little bit because he'd already been doing it for decades. So that was one thing. I like to talk to people and find out, how did you do this? Yeah. How are you doing it now?
So I call that the proximity principle. Mm-hmm. Be around people that are doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
For proximity principle.
Yeah.
I like the alliteration of that too.
I'm a simple thinker,
Yeah, I like that.
But the point is being around people that are doing it. And I think that's great advice. You said just do it kind of jokingly, but just do that. Get around people. If you have, and honestly, I can't believe how many people that I've helped over the years. Just, hey, I'm interested in video. Can you talk to me about that? Sure, absolutely. Yeah. I think people are, especially in this state, they're open to that. Like, find a mentor, find somebody that's doing what you want to do. So I think that's fantastic advice. So thank you.
I try not to tell people, like, this is another thing I don't mistakes. Like, I don't, like, I made mistakes. I feel like I learned so much from them, obviously, but I think other people, I'm like, sometimes you have to learn, like, you have to go through those mistakes too. You have to go through those struggles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another thing I've really valued, and I probably have learned this, I'm sure, at other careers or jobs I've had, is to kind of go with the flow. And this is something I use in my programs. I wrote a song called Butterfly, so where I'll tell the kids, like, hey, you know, it's great to be a bird sometimes. You know, they have direct flight paths and they know where they're going. But butterflies, they don't have direct flight paths. They know where they're going. They know where they want to get to. But sometimes life takes them in different pathways. And I've used that as a musician. Like, sometimes I've had to go over and do this thing as a musician, even though my goal was over here. Or sometimes somebody has approached me and said, hey, can you do this with your music? And I've never thought of it that way. And I'm like, I've never done it, but I'll try it. It's still a part of my core, like what I do as a musician, but it was something kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone. So being flexible, I think, is something valuable.
Yeah, that's great. Great advice, great wisdom. See, you said, you didn't necessarily want to give advice, but you dropped some amazing advice bombs on us here, and I appreciate that.
Sorry for that.
No, it was excellent. Tony, we've covered a lot in this interview. Is there anything else you think our listeners should know about you or your story?
Yeah, one thing I didn't bring up is I didn't talk about my wife and kids. And my nonprofit.
Yeah, let's do this.
So I've been married for over 20 years and I have 3 daugers. Gosh, and they're gonna listen to this and be like, why didn't you talk about us, Dad?
Yeah, you saved the best for last.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, thank you, Jim. That's exactly it. And they were all 3 born and raised here in West Virginia. My wife she was born in West Virginia too. Here's a really cool story with that. So the doctor that delivered, Dr. Wonger, he delivered my wife and me a few months apart. He also delivered our children. And right after our last child, a few months later, or probably a few years later, I'm sorry, he retired. So he was amazing. That's special. Amazing. And he's still active. Yeah. I mean, he's in his upper 80s now, but I just saw him last summer on the river, paddling his kayak. That's and he remembered me, which was really awesome.
That is awesome. And that's a key to longevity. Keep moving.
Yeah. Miles on your body are good. All right.
That's great.
That's my personal side of my family.
Nonprofit.
And then we have a nonprofit that I started with a friend of mine from elementary school. She lives in Hawaii. So we've had this like amazing relationship. This long distance relationship where we were able to build this nonprofit. It's called the Tony M Music and Arts Foundation, kind of like what you've done here. Yeah. We saw this need for arts for younger students. We focus mainly on 3rd, 4th, and 5th at intermediate level. So we offer arts classes, and then in the summertime we host a concert series in downtown Martinsburg. So we do 9 different shows. We hire acts to bring them in. It's free for families.
Wow.
We partner with our Main Street Martinsburg. The libraries I can't say enough about them. They're just amazing. So that's one of our Berkeley County Public Libraries are one of our biggest partners with that venture.
That's amazing.
We've been doing that for 7 years now. So
well done.
Yeah,
good job. I appreciate that.
It was like I took enough from the community and now I had to give back.
That's a wonderful philosophy, in terms of business and making sure that you're able to contribute back to the community.
Yeah,
it's so important.
The community that raised me.
Very important. Tony, as we close out our time here, how can listeners learn more about you and perhaps even get in contact with you?
I am the only Tony M Music out there that I know of. So, all the others are imposters.
That's right.
So TonyMmusic.com.
That's great.
Any social media is Tony M Music.
Yeah.
My website, my direct email is there.
Yeah.
You can listen to all the music for free. See, I told you I was terrible at marketing. Just listen to it. I get a penny for each time you listen to it. So.
That's great. And folks can, on your website, which is TonyMmusic.com, they can find the West Virginia My Home digital download too.
They can. And a new album I have coming out in May.
Amazing.
Which I gave you a bootleg copy of that.
Yeah.
It's called Tiny Seed.
It's awesome, man.
17 songs that are geared towards, this one's more for pre-K, early elementary school, so or age groups. So Tiny Seed, that's my new album.
Yeah, and we'll make sure we have links to all that in the show notes, and
thank you.
Tag you on social media and everything like that. Once again, our guest today was Tony Martirano with Tony M Music. Tony, you're awesome, man.
You're awesome. I love this.
I love your music.
Podcast.
I love that you brought some instruments and gave folks a taste of what you do. And I'm going to encourage everybody to grab up some Tony M Music. And if he's coming to a library this summer in your community, go check it out. Bring the kids.
Yeah,
it's going to be amazing.
Bring the whole family.
Bring the whole family.
I got plenty of instruments for everybody to join the band.
I love it, and I just want to say, I love what you do, Tony, and I just want to encourage you to keep up the great work. You're awesome.
Thank you, Jim. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely, folks. That's a wrap on another episode of Positively West Virginia. If you or someone you know would be a great guest on the show, drop us a line on our website at positively.wv.com. And of course, we appreciate your comments, sharing these stories like Tony and Tony M Music. And also, we appreciate your words of encouragement too. That helps us keep motivated to spread the good news and the positivity in West Virginia. On behalf of our entire Positively West Virginia team, including our producer today, Mr. Justin Schofield, behind the controls today, I'm your host, Jim Matuga. Stay positive, West Virginia.
We'd like to thank our partners, Highmark West Virginia, Freedom Kia of Morgantown, InnerAction Media, Storymaker, and our studio sponsor, Breezeline, for helping to share these positive stories. If you'd like to become a sponsor of the Positively West Virginia podcast, visit positively.wv.com/sponsor.